A story is told about a 9-year-old who went to Europe with his parents one summer. They visited many of the great old cathedrals, and the boy spent a lot of time looking at huge stained glass portraits of Jesus, the disciples, and other saints. He was fascinated by these magnificent stained glass windows, and upon his return home, his Sunday school teacher asked him what he liked most about his trip. And he thought for a moment and said, "I loved the colored pictures of the saints." And then his Sunday school teacher asked him to define a saint. And he thought for a moment, and then he said, "A saint is a person that the light shines through." Stained glass has always fascinated me, and so I decided to do a little research on the art form. The earliest stained glass window in existence is from about 675 AD. It's a round window with patches of pastel-colored glass quilted together by lead. In the 6th century, Pope Gregory urged artists to paint biblical scenes on church walls to educate the people. And this was the beginning of the so-called poor man's Bible. Because religion was an integral part of daily life, Bible stories and the lives of saints were eventually depicted in the windows to help pass the stories and traditions of the church on to an illiterate congregation. As an art form, stained glass reached its height during the Middle Ages. The printing press was not invented until about 1450, so any type of printed materials before then were very expensive and time-consuming to produce. St. Paul's is fortunate to have these 2 beautiful stained glass windows here in the sanctuary that depict the 23rd Psalm. The basic ingredients for making glass are sand, soda, and lime. And the mixture is melted at a high temperature into a liquid. And then metallic oxides, or salts, are added to color the glass. Gold is added and creates a cranberry color. Cobalt creates a blue. Silver creates either yellow or gold, and copper creates a green color. Next, the molten liquid is formed into a pane of glass by a variety of different methods. The pictorial image is created by cutting the glass panels and arranging the broken pieces over a design drawn on a board. Each piece is fitted into the strips of lead and soldered together to create a secure panel. And then it's stabilized by an iron frame and mounted into a window. It's quite an amazing process and remarkably hasn't changed much through the ages. In the gospel today, we hear a continuation of the teachings of the Beatitudes from last week. Jesus offers us images of salt and light to further illustrate what it means to be a faithful disciple. We can only make guesses as to the exact analogy that Jesus is using with these images, but we know he's trying to make a point about the role that disciples play in our society. Salt and light are both necessary for our very existence, quite precious commodities. Both are gifts of creation that require careful ingenuity to access, and they must be used wisely. Salt is used as a seasoning and a preservative for food. Yet, people with high blood pressure must be extraordinarily cautious about the quantity. Light enables us to see things clearly, helps our immune system, and is a great source of vitamin D. Yet we all know what happens when a power outage leaves us without the ability to turn on the switch for light. We're left literally and figuratively powerless. As disciples, we're called to offer the world our gifts of kindness, cheerfulness, compassion, mercy, forgiveness, patience, and love. Just like salt adds flavor, these gifts enhance our relationship. We are to sprinkle the world with these gifts. They are the seasoning of Christ's presence. And in this sprinkling, we allow the light of Christ to radiate through each one of us. Remember, saints are people who let the light shine through. We hear Jesus say, "Let your light so shine before others that they might see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." When we intentionally let our lights shine, others see that we are people who care because we know God, and they will want to know God too. For me, the gospel message almost always seems to boil down to the great commandment. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. And this gospel is no different. Your life is tremendously important. You are here today because you care about Jesus, and today he calls us to be salt and light. Going back to my stained glass analogy, salt is what produces the different colors in glass. Each of our unique gifts, our personality, and our life experience is the salt added to clear glass. The salt enhances brilliant colors in creation. God is the artist, the skilled creator, carefully taking each one of our broken pieces and placing them in exactly the right position to create a beautiful window. Our lives are a lot like stained glass windows, each one created piece by piece, and each piece of glass must be broken to become a part of the window. We look at those broken pieces and we see a mess. We look at those pieces and only feel the pain and the shame of being broken. God looks at those pieces and sees all the possibilities that only a skilled craftsman, a creator, could imagine. God sees a work of art and carefully fits those pieces together to make a beautiful window that tells the story of our life. There's a tremendous amount of polarization going on in our world today. And we have to remember that God does not see things with a lens that judges between race, religion, gender, political power, sports team playing in the Super Bowl, or nationality. God sees all of our beautiful windows and how we complement one another, or not. It is our responsibility to take the gospel in, to have it become a part of us, and to live it out with salt and light as we go out into the world. Author Elizabeth Kubler-Ross said, "People are like stained glass windows. They sparkle and shine when the sun is out. But when the darkness sets in, their true beauty is only revealed if there is a light from within." What about you? Are you allowing the light of Christ to shine through you? Are you allowing his light to be made visible through your brilliant life? Or has your light gone out? Has your passion for God become religious ritual, rote, and routine? Don't hide your light. Let it burn brilliantly. Let it shine. We were not created to be silent disciples of Jesus, quietly hidden away in a back room. No one can see our stained glass, our beautiful colors, if we don't let our light shine. We were created to be revolutionaries for God, to stand up for one another, to support and encourage one another. Jesus was literally turning the world upside down when he offered the instructions that we heard last week in the Beatitudes. When we live righteous, holy lives, letting our lights shine before others that they might see our good works and glorify our Father in heaven, we too are turning the ways of the world upside down. We are living in the spirit of the Beatitudes instead of the ways of the world. Jesus suggests that we are salt and light today, not in some distant imagined future time, but in the present time, right now. So, polish up your stained glass windows right now and let that brilliant light shine through. We have some big work to do out there, and we need to get started today. Thanks be to God.